So one last thing for you on this, Troy, is nothing is more insightful, certainly when two Hall of Fame quarterbacks talk to each other, one who's already there and another one who's going there. I've seen that in broadcast meetings myself involving Kurt Warner and a quarterback who's getting ready to play a game that they're broadcasting. I'm wondering, is there any insight you could share, Troy, conversations with Rodgers last year that indicate how he might view this as a fresh start, or is this one last role for him, do you think, in 2023? Troy.
Well, I would say this. First of all, it's a fair question, and the conversations that I've had, whether it be with guys like Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady, Drew Brees when he was playing, Brett Favre, there's a number of those guys. There is obviously a level of respect, and so those conversations, much like what you've heard with Kurt Warner and the quarterbacks he's talked to, it's good. I think there is a brotherhood and a fraternity, if you will, amongst quarterbacks. With that said, although I do consider Aaron a friend and someone who I think a lot of and have great respect for, he plays it pretty close to the vest, and he doesn't share a lot. And he's usually, whatever he reveals, I think he goes in knowing exactly how much he's going to reveal or what he's going to give of himself or what he wants the message to be. But as far as what happened in Green Bay or why he maybe felt that it was time to go somewhere else, or all that has been reported and discussed ad nauseum, I really could not comment on. I think change is good. I mean, we all go through that. I went through it on a much different level, of course, last year going to ESPN. And I think that when you've been doing it for a long time in one place, sometimes going somewhere else and seeing how they do it does kind of re-energize you. And I know that he had talked about retirement. There's been a lot of conversation about that. I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. I don't think it means that he's less motivated to go out and play great. In fact, I think now that the trade has happened and he is going to be in New York and playing, I think that he's more committed than ever to prove that he's, the best quarterback in the game today and one of the best to have ever done it.
And they also have the horses, I think. I mean, they really do have those kids and Quinnen Williams in the middle of that defense as well. I mean, he basically wore Quinnen Williams all four quarters when the Jets visited Green Bay last year. I mean, but the reason why I ask that is that does change the evaluation if he does play more than just a year or even two. Like, obviously that's rare to do into your 40s, but he seems tremendously in shape. That seems to be.
Yeah, I think he can play several more years if that's what he chooses to do.
Right.
I asked him years ago. I said this was Brady was maybe 40 at the time or 41, 42, whatever it was, and was talking to Aaron, and I said, for some reason I just don't see you playing until you're 45 years old. And he didn't comment. He just kind of had that smile that we've seen so many times, And so I do think there's probably a feeling on his part. Maybe if they win the Super Bowl, maybe you say, hey, what a great way to go out. But I do think there's a feeling on his part that the trade was made and he wants to give all that he has. So part of me, although I don't have any insight, part of me would be surprised if he only plays the one season. But I liken it a lot, this situation, and it's a bit unfair, to when Tom went to Tampa Bay. But Tampa Bay wound up putting more pieces around him in addition to what they had. The Jets have done similar things. But the defense for the Bucs were a good defense. And I think the Jets are a really solid defense and get after people as well. So as a quarterback, you come in and you have that part of it. That makes that opportunity look a whole lot better when you don't feel like you're going to be in these shootouts week in and week out. You got a chance to kind of ease your way into it, even though expectations will be high offensively. And I do think they'll be really good on offense. Hard not to be when you have him as your quarterback. But I think there's a lot of things in place. And when Robert Saleh got to the Jets, and I watched him in a preseason game, I thought right away, I said, wow, this is a defense. They fly around, much like what we saw when he was coaching the 49ers. And I said, this defense is going to be really good in a short period of time, and I think we've seen that.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.